I am off to run the Centurion Autumn 100. So here I am, I'm getting ready to go. And as I was getting ready, I thought it might be useful just to talk a little bit about what getting ready looks like, what I'm going to be bringing with me for the event, both what I'll sort of carry on my person in my race pack, but also what I'll put in my drop bags and my finish line bags. So let's talk about what goes in the pack. The pack I'm using is the Salomon Advanced Skin 12. It's got 12 litres capacity in the back, which is more than I'll need for an event like this. Room for 2 water bladders in the front and loads of really handy pockets that you can stuff stuff in and get to. I love this pack. It fits really comfortably. It doesn't sort of ride around or anything like that, and it can fit everything you might need for a full day's adventure on the trails. So what I'm going to have in there throughout the whole event is driven largely by what I need and what the race director's list of mandatory kit is. And fortunately, they're more or less the same. So first and foremost, I'm going to carry 2 of these Salomon 500ml water bladders, one on each side. Typically, I'll have one filled with Tailwind or some other sports drink and one filled with water. The Tailwind is great because you get your calorie intake, but also some electrolytes and things like that, along with your hydration. Water is just because sometimes you don't feel like drinking Tailwind, and sometimes you've had a gel you need to wash it down with. So these 2 go in the front. This cup is for anything that doesn't go in there. Most races these days are cupless, which is great. This cup squishes down to nothing. You can put it in a shorts pocket if you want to, but I'll just stuff it in along with the gels. But this is great if you want to have some Coke, or even it'll hold a warm drink. I mean, it gets quite hot, but it'll hold a warm drink as well. So if you want a quick slug of tea or coffee or something like that, it's a great thing to have with you. And again, it just takes up no space and weighs nothing, which is great. Sticking with hydration and nutrition, I'm going to have, for the first leg of this 4-leg race, I'm going to take 4 gels with me. That's because I'm looking to try and get just over 300 calories an hour. And if I get 200 calories an hour from Tailwind, then I'll need another 100 from somewhere. I've got a selection here. I love the Cliff Shot Mocha gels. They were the first product that I ever really sort of found I could tolerate way back when I started running. And I still love them. They just remind me of race day. So I like to start out with a few of these, but they're quite thick. And so I find sort of later on when I'm getting a bit fussier about what I have, they don't suit me as well. On the contrary, these Marathon gels I find very easy to get down. They're unflavoured, so they feel quite sweet in the mouth. They've got a consistency that not everybody likes. It's actually reasonably gelatinous. Basically, I know they're all called gels, but this sort of sticks together in one lump, and so you almost have to chew it a little bit on the way down. Some people don't like that. I find actually it makes it easier to get it down. And these are super fast acting. I feel like I get an energy kick off these straight away. So particularly in the second half of the race, these are going to be great. And then just for variety, I'll throw in a goo as well. They come in just a cornucopia of different flavors. And so I quite like berry flavor. This one's berry, but I'm going to have with me watermelon and salted caramel and all kinds of good stuff. So that's all part of the fun. This shady looking bag here has got salt tablets in it. These are Salt Stick brand. That's just because I am a super salty sweater, and I find it really handy to be able to top up those electrolytes as and when I start noticing that I'm thirsty and water's not touching it. They're also great for getting rid of cramps and things like that, so I always make sure I've got some of those on me. So then in terms of other bits and bobs, this is my waterproof. This is the Salomon Bonatti Pro, I think, waterproof, last year's model. Again, it weighs nothing, which is great, and stuffs down super small. You can actually fold it into its own pocket if you want to. I'm not going to do that. I'll show you in a moment. I'm actually going to stuff that into one of the outer pockets on my bag horizontally, so it's really easy just to grab it from behind me. But this is fantastic. It's waterproof, windproof, and breathable, so you don't get too hot in it. You don't feel like you're boiling the bag. So I'm a big fan of that. On this side, we've got some other bits and pieces. This is mandatory for this race because we're running it in the autumn. This is my head torch, so it's in a bag here because I want it to stay dry until I need it. But this is the Petzl Neo Plus, and it's really quite comfortable to wear. It's very bright and it's got a sensor in it, so it will adjust its brightness depending on what the natural conditions are around. So that is quite helpful. It means you've got good illumination, but if there's lots of natural light around you, then it's not burning the battery, just shining at full brightness. So that's the head torch. That is also on the mandatory kit list. I've got some hand sanitizer just because you never know. I've got my sunglasses because I actually think it might be a really nice day tomorrow. You never know. If there's cloud cover, then these will probably stay in the bag. But if the clouds burn off and it's bright, then these are fantastic. And I like these. These are Sun Gods. Again, they're very lightweight, very durable, but they're inexpensive enough that if something bad were to happen to them, then I don't really mind. So they will go in the pack. And then this is my little action camera that I use to make some of the videos while I'm running. This is the DJI action camera. I really like it because it's easy to hold in your hand and it does this sort of Steadicam gimbal thing. It's reasonably heavy. There's a good amount of weight in that shaft there, but it's not too bad in the grand scheme of things. And I like to document these adventures, so this will go in one of my pockets as well. And then lastly, you've got the this orange dry bag here. This is full of what I think of as sort of emergency kit. It's not really emergency per se, but these are things which I sort of hope I'm not going to need. But if something's not going quite right, I can just pull this out of my pack and we'll see everything that I need in there. So I'm going to show you what's inside in just a moment. Okay, so in terms of what goes inside the misadventure bag or the emergency bag, this is a mixture of mandatory kit and things that I just like to have with me. So firstly, most races require, and frankly I'd recommend having a spare base layer. So this is just a long sleeve technical shirt that is really lovely, you know, fits close to the skin, keeps you nice and warm. You put it in the dry bag, and so even if your main kit gets completely soaked, you'll have something that's dry, or you can use it as an extra layer. And again, you can scrunch these down quite small. So that's going in. In the same vein, if something were to go wrong and I was out there for much longer than I expected, I'd want emergency nutrition. So I've just got a couple more gels here in a bag so that if they burst, they don't get all over my stuff. A couple more gels, that's 200 extra calories should I need it. This is a emergency foil blanket that is the regulation size for this race, but as you can see, weighs nothing, takes up no space. Always a good idea to have these. Anyone who's finished an event and been given one, you know how surprisingly effective they are at retaining that body heat. But these can be really invaluable if you get in trouble, and if you stop running, you get cold really, really quickly. So having this with you is a great idea. Then you've got a backup light source. This is the little Petzl backup light source that's you know, in this little box. I won't get it out because it's fiddly to put it back in here. But there's a small light source with its own battery and a head strap. This is not great for actual navigation, but if your primary light source dies, it's a lot better than using your phone, which will probably run out of battery in no time. I've got a tiny, very cute little body glide, because if you are chafing, then the last thing you want to do is have to wait until you get back to your drop bag to be able to deal with that. So body glide with me. Similarly, in terms of not wanting to wait till you get to an aid station, if the worst were to happen and you need to answer a more serious call of nature, I like to have a little bit of toilet paper with me. I've got a warm beanie hat here. It could be cold out there, and so this will be warmer than the cap that I'm planning to wear if the temperature really plummets, and again just doesn't take up much space. I've got some gloves. These are actually also Salomon little windproof mittens, but they are lovely and warm, and you know, my hands don't tend to get cold at all, so I'm probably not expecting to need these, but I could certainly imagine being glad of them. And again, they're going to take up no space and disappear inside the bag. I've got cash here and a credit card. That's always a good idea. I mean, I should be able to pay with my phone and things like that if I need to, but you never know where you might need to buy some emergency food, get a taxi if you've been injured, need to get somewhere. Always a good idea to have some emergency money with you. And then finally, I put this together for a different race. This one doesn't require it, but it's just some plasters, a bandage, alcohol wipes, things like that. So just a very, very bare minimum of a first aid kit. I just feel better having it. You know, if something would happen or if I were to come across someone who needed it, then it would be really, really good to have that. So it looks like quite a lot of stuff when it's spread out like this, but actually it will completely disappear inside this bag because it's all quite compressible. So you can just sort of pop the gels and the heat shield in, scratch the shirt up and put that in at the bottom. And then we've got toilet paper, money, and a couple of these harder things I'll sort of wedge towards the middle here so they don't end up rubbing against me while we're running. Put the warm hat in here, gloves, and first aid stuff here. And then what you'll see is you can shove that right down, and if you compress the air out of this, squish it down, then it becomes nice and small. So you sort of roll this up here, get the air out, roll it up, and clip that in. You could toss that in the river and everything would stay dry. I don't plan to do that, but it means that in my bag, everything in here will stay completely dry, so if I need to pull something out in an emergency, then it'll be ready for me, which is great. So let's talk about how all of that goes into the pack. So this big pocket at the back is where I will put the dry bag. I'll go in first, right down the bottom here. And then on top of that, I'll pop the head torch. And at the very top, I'll put my sunglasses just so they're not getting squashed by anything. And we'll zip that up and pop it on. I love the fastenings on this bag because they're really easy to get on. They're very flexible and adjustable, and the thing just fits really, really comfortably around there. So first thing is we'll put the water bottles in. These actually are easier to get in when they're full than when they're empty, believe it or not, but for now I'll just stuff that in there, and you secure them with these little rubber bands there. Put this one in as well. Goes. And then I'm going to add the nutrition stuff. I like to just always use the same size for things so I can remember where they are. So my nutrition always goes on my right hand side. So salt tablets down the bottom. See, these pockets are massive. I mean, you can fit so much in there. I'm not going to overload them, but cup goes towards the back there, again nice and soft, and then just pop these gels in. Okay. Hand sanitizer just in the separate front pocket there so it doesn't get mixed in with everything else. That's cool. And then I'll keep my camera, my phone, other bits like that on this side so they don't get covered in sticky food and things. This jacket, as I mentioned, could get bundled up inside its pocket and put in the back. I think if I wasn't expecting to need it at all, then that's where I'd put it. But because I think there's a good chance I might pull it on if it's windy or if I get a sprinkle, then I'll put it in the sort of tunnel pocket around the back here. So in addition to these front pockets, there is a long pocket that goes all the way around the back. And so what you can do is just shove this in there and pull it through with your other hand. And then that, there you go. That keeps the jacket just smushed up there against your lower back. Super comfortable, you don't even know it's there. But then if you need to get this out while you're running, you don't have to stop and get the pack off. You can literally just reach in here, grab it and pull it on. And likewise, if you get too warm, you can do what I just did, stuff it up and put it in. You don't even have to stop to do that. You can just do it while you're walking. So that's the stuff that will go in the pack. So now we're going to talk about what goes in the drop bag. This is the bag I'm going to use for my drop bag. It's a new one. I just got this, a bit of a present to myself. It's a Kitbricks bag. What makes these great is that they have this nice tough bottom there, so you can put them down on any surface. They stand up open, they're not sort of flopping around. And they're made of this material that you can just clean with a hose, frankly. So if it's disgusting outside, doesn't matter. If it's disgusting inside, doesn't matter. There's not many pockets and things on the inside. There's just one side pocket and a clear pocket in the top where I've put my notes to myself so I don't forget anything. And there's a couple of mesh pockets on the outside. Another feature of these is that you can zip them together to make sort of multi-zone big bags, rucksacks and things like that. I'm not planning to do that, but you can if you want to. Because this is just one big bag and doesn't have any internal pockets, I've got everything in these freezer bags. They're reusable, so I'm not going to throw these away afterwards. They're clear, so I can see what's inside. They keep things together that are of the same type. And when I've got them in here, I can just sort of rifle through and see what I want. So I'm hoping this system will make it really easy to see what I need to get out. I haven't tried it before, so we'll see. The other good thing about these bags is for certain items, like this is my warm layer for the night sections. If I'm not ready to put that on straight when I leave, I could just grab it in its bag and put it in my backpack. And that way it doesn't matter if it gets wet or heavy, it will still be ready for me to wear whenever I want to. So let's pop everything in this bag and I'll talk through what it is as we go. Starting with the food, I've got two main categories of food. There are the essentials and then there's the sort of optional stuff. Essential wise, first and foremost, there's the gels. I've got a selection of gels depending on what I feel in the mood for, but I'm going to make sure every time I leave the aid station, I've got at least 5 with me. So that should be enough for 1 hour, plus whatever solid food I eat on the course. I also love shot blocks. These are like my comfort food if I'm having a low mood. I find that these really cheer me up. There's something about the taste of them that just makes me happy. So I quite often like to have some of these with me. And I've got a huge selection here, and there's way more than I will need, but you just never quite know what's going to agree with you and what you're going to feel the mood for. So I'm just making sure I've got a choice available to me. And then we'll go in one really big bag here. It's going to be at the end of the bag, so I can always get to it. Then we've got some solid food. These are Chia Charge bars, which are quite great. I probably won't use them. I might have one as a recovery bar actually, and that's because there'll be fruits and wraps and other good stuff on the course. But these are here just in case I want something familiar. And then this is my comfort food bag. So in here I've got things that should cheer me up. I've got peanut M&Ms, I've got mini cheddars, I've got some Maryland chocolate chip cookies, and some Haribo Fantastics. I shouldn't need them, but it's because there's so much stuff on the Centurion course. But it's great to have them available just in case I want a little mood booster. So those will go in here. And then we're down to the clothing. So I start with the stuff that I'm likely to use. This bag has got my change of socks and my change of shirts. There's a short sleeve shirt and a long sleeve shirt in there, depending on how warm it is. But halfway, 50 miles, my plan is to change clean my feet, re-lube, put fresh socks on, put a dry shirt on, those kind of things. So this is here all ready to go for halfway. This, as I mentioned, is my warm layer, which I will probably grab a halfway as well and just put in my backpack, so that goes in here next to there. This is a much warmer layer, so if it's freakishly cold, I can take this instead of the other one. Realistically, I'll probably just wear this when I'm finished instead of during the course, but I want to have that available to me as an option. Then I've got another pair of shorts, another hat, another shirt. That's if like something's gone wrong, right? So if I've lost my hat, or if my shorts are soaked or ripped, or I just need to change them, or I go through, it's absolutely soaking and I go through all my shirts. This is stuff that I really, really shouldn't need. But again, if I've got it, then I won't worry about it. If I don't have it, then Sodbull says you don't need it. And similarly, these are waterproof trousers. I really hope I won't need those, but you never know. So they can just go in the bag to be there in case I need them. I've got bug repellent plasters, spare contact lenses, if I should need those. And I've got another buff and another pair of gloves, and that's also just in case I lose one of my other gloves or lose my buff or something, then I've got options there. Then the only other things are, these are some wet wipes. I don't want to bring like a whole bag of wet wipes, but these are great. I'll use them to freshen up. It really is surprising how revitalizing it is just to clean the salt and grime off yourself. So I'll probably do that every time. I'll definitely do it halfway. I'll also use these when I'm changing my socks, just to, if they've got muddy, then I might want to clean my feet as well before I do that. So that can go in here. And then the last thing we're going to put in, and you see how this bag really holds everything. Actually, two things. This is a shoehorn. It's obnoxiously large, but it's the only one we've got in the house. I'm going to take that to help me change my shoes halfway. Change my socks rather, get my shoes off and on. And then this is a thermal flask, Chili's flask. I'm going to put some chicken soup in here so that I can have something that's warm and salty and delicious. I had some of that at, I don't know, mile 70 something in the last race, and it was really, really good. Although I was so cold I shivered and spilled it over myself, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time. But I'm going to fill that with soup and pop that in there. And then this zips up. This zip here is really tough, waterproof, and all this up, so this whole bag goes in there. And then strapped to the outside here, I've got a roller. I've been having some tightness in my my sort of hip flexors and my quads and things like that lately, so it's possible I might need to do a little self-massage, particularly after stopping at the aid station. So I've just like got that there in case I need it. And then it's got my race number on it here and here, so it's very easy for the volunteers to find. But that's everything that's going to go in there. The one other thing that's going to go in this bag, it's going to go in the side pocket, is some battery packs. So I've got a big one with a fast charger. My plan is to put this plus the charging cables for my phone and my watch in here, and then when I'm mucking around in the aid station filling things up, I can just quickly plug my phone in to charge. The phone should be good for most of the day, but if I'm taking pictures and using navigation a lot, it might run out, so that'll help me stay topped up. This is another battery pack. It's a smaller one, obviously. This is in case the phone is like really chewing through battery and I'm worried it's going to run out. This way I can just grab this and bring it with me for one of the loops, and that will recharge my phone fully. Because I'm using the map on the phone to navigate, the Ordnance Survey Maps app, if I get lost, of course, I mean the signage should be good. Because that's my backup plan, I really don't want to be without a phone. So making sure that I've got sufficient range on that is really important. So having that battery pack available to grab and go is really helpful. And then I alluded to this but didn't really talk about what was on it. So this is the little notes I've given myself in here. It's just to remind me what to do every time I open this bag. So every time I'm going to fill my bottles, charge my phone, make sure I've got 5 gels and top up like my comfort food that's in here. Then for the specific legs, the leg 2 note to myself is just to check how my shoes are feeling. Is there anything that I need to check out there? Leg 3, it's going to be windy because you're up on the ridgeway, and so there I might want to think about bringing one of these warm layers, so I've just put an explicit note to myself there. And because we're halfway, I'm also going to change my socks, so there's a reminder there to do that. And the 4th leg, to have some chicken soup if I haven't already had some. It may seem ridiculous to write little reminders to yourself, but I can just tell you from experience, you don't really know how you're going to feel, and you can open this and easily be bewildered by the choices ahead of you. And so this way, I don't have to think about it too much. I just follow my instructions, grab what I need to do, and don't waste loads of time in there, but also don't leave without something that's important. The other thing I'm going to bring with me is a finish line bag. This won't be available to me during the event, but when I finish, they give this to me. So drop bag, finish line bag. In here are the things that I'm going to need just basically to get me back to the hotel, which is a short walk distance-wise, but it's going to feel like a long way having run 100 miles. So this is all about just feeling fresh and warm and stuff. So in here I have another water bottle, and I'm going to make a recovery shake. This is the Tailwind recovery protein stuff. I'm going to make a recovery shake to go in there, just so that you can start putting some protein back straight away. These are some warm trousers that I will just pull on over my shorts. I've got a hoodie here, and I've got another waterproof jacket in case the other one is wet. And then this is a robe that was actually given to me at the finish line of the New York Marathon a few years ago. This thing is super warm, and you know, you can just wrap that around yourself. And if it's really cold, or if I'm just really cold, and even if it's nice out there, that I can just use as I shuffle slowly back to the hotel. But that's all. There's not much going to go in there at all, to be honest, but that will pack up nicely. So I hope this video has been useful. I will be filming as I do the run itself, so you'll be able to follow along with that adventure as well. Cheers.